This shit that ice cold Michelle fight for that white gold. This one for them hood girls, them good girls.
Jason's podcast, part 3, Masters Sunday. Let's switch gears, Phil, and talk Twins baseball now. The Twins are 5 games into their season here in 2015. They're 1-4. That first series against Detroit could not have gone any worse. And the White Sox are maybe the one team in the American League that are worse than the Twins. They beat them on Friday. Yesterday they had a 4-0 lead, but they squandered that, and Chicago ends up winning it 5-4. Pitching has been the story this week. You had, prior to the season starting, Irvin Santana, their $55 million free agent signee rather, gets the suspension for the PED, out for half the year. And then Ricky Nolasco, who had a poor 2014, but he's a 4-year, $49 million starting pitcher during free agency last year, is now on the DL. Looks like it'll only be the 15 days, but to be honest with you, Santana, that one hurts. But, Trevor May getting the opening day start tomorrow at Target Field, I'm okay with any young guy you want to bring up and let him try. They've got some arms down there, and I don't need to see Ricky Nolasco out there at this point.
No, what is it, a mile away, I guess, the stadium from here, and it's sold out. They'll show up. The question, I guess, would be, we kind of knew, especially with the suspension of Santana, that the pitching was going to be a problem. What about the offense? That was supposed to be okay.
I was excited. I'm with you. Now, give them some time. And give these pitchers time, too. Give them 3 starts before we start making judgments. The only guy on offense that I'm going to make judgments about, you know who it is. We'll get there in a second. But I'm willing to wait it out for guys like Kenny Vargas, guys like Oswaldo Arcia, who I think are going to be good hitters.
Vargas was fine last year when he was up.
More than fine. Danny Santana, who had a bad series in Detroit, but now he's done a little better in the Chicago series, including yesterday, the leadoff hitter. I'm very excited about what he can do. Brian Dozier, I know a lot of guys want to see him hit for average a little bit better, but
out of the park,
he's a guy that, again, if you make a mistake to him, if you give him a cookie, he'll hit it out. And Joe Mauer just doesn't do that anymore. Joe Mauer, to me, Torrey Hunter, the other thing, I give him time too. I'm not concerned.
You say anymore.
He struggled early.
He did it one season.
Yeah, he's had a couple seasons of double-digit home runs, but he had the one in 2009 where he had 28. Last year down to 4. I just, to me, the Joe Mauer that we saw in March in spring training and the one that we've seen through 5 games here in 2015, unfortunately, until I see otherwise, this is the Joe Mauer that we have right now. He is a good hitter. He's a good singles hitter, 270 plus. That's above average in Major League Baseball. And he can take some walks, although he does strike out. He strikes out plenty. More than people talk about, he's got such a great eye. Not anymore. You can slip a fastball by him on the outside corner, and the umpires aren't afraid to call him out anymore either, which is interesting. And you can strike him out on a slider almost every time. So he strikes out more than he walks these days. To me, if he turns it around, that changes everything because he's your 3-hitter. Right now, as we sit, Joe Mauer this is just a fact. You can't refute it. He's the worst 3-hitter in Major League Baseball.
Wow, that's a pretty strong statement.
Is.
Yeah.
He is, Phil. 1 RBI through 5 games. I know it's just 5 games, but the guy, he doesn't have extra base power. He does not get RBIs.
Well, now that's not the word we're getting from the Twins camp and those that write about the Twins
media,
camp.
You mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's said to be that the injury last year was basically, as always with Joe Mauer, we didn't really get the full story, and now his legs are underneath him. And he's going to start, trying to get a few extra base hits, and maybe, there was an article in the Trib that said, there's a possibility, or at least the expectation would be, 320, 35 doubles or 40 doubles, and 12 home runs.
Your guy, Lavelli Neal III.
We'll throw him right under the bus.
From the Star Tribune in late February came out with a couple of big pieces on a Sunday paper basically saying, get ready for the new Joe Mauer. He's healthy. He's ready to go. He's done, his off-season, routine, which came under fire last year.
He worked out.
Now all of a sudden he's, much better off-season, like it would, this is a guy who's won 3 batting titles. He's won an MVP. He's not new. He should know what to do in the off-season, right? They say, this offseason he did this and that and that. And in March, down in Fort Myers, I know it's only spring training and he only played every other day, but same thing. Same thing we saw, one home run, which, by the way, they made this giant deal out of that hitting coach Tom Bernansky called it on a 2-0 pitch. He called it that Maurer would homer, and he homered to right. So all the papers, made a big deal out of that. And then Lavelle at the time tweeted out, looks like now that he's working on pulling the ball with Bruno, he's going to have a final week of spring that's he's gonna ready to really gear up for the season, and it's all fool's gold. It's all a dream, and the Twins would love for fans to believe that Joe Mauer is still the face of this franchise.
Well, they got to fill up the stadium.
That he's still a perennial All-Star. That he's still a future Hall of Famer. Those things are very much in doubt.
Oh, I think the Hall of Fame is still a very realistic.
He's not even a 2,000 hits hit.
Well, he's got 3 titles. He's a career 300 hitter. I mean, it's tough to not put him in the Hall with those numbers.
Boy, you think today he's a Hall of Famer?
I think
Really?
I do.
Really?
Based on the criteria that he was a catcher. Look at the catch. I mean, are we judging him as a catcher anymore? But he was
a catcher for 7 seasons.
I'm well aware of that.
Or 8 seasons.
I'm well aware. I do think you put him in the Hall.
I don't know. All right, that's interesting.
He's he's very popular. I don't know why, but he's very popular amongst the people that have those votes. So.
Well, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, and I don't like ripping him. People talk about, oh, you're a hater. I'm not a hater. I'm a realist. Let's stop pretending that that there's nothing wrong with Mauer, or that he's not taking a nosedive, or that he's taking, especially last year, a serious nosedive. And there's no, people, the outfield is finally playing him towards the left field line. Well, of course they are. Those line drives to left are being caught. And he doesn't have the power to left field anymore to get it over the fence like he did at the Metrodome. I think this is, until I see something different here. And I don't think Paul Molitor, by the way, I love Paul Molitor.
But we haven't really mentioned Molitor yet. What do you think, after your final thought on Joe, based on the sample we've seen this year, how is it different than how Gardy did it?
Well, he did a couple things in spring that I don't think Gardy would have done. He demoted Mike Pelfrey to the bullpen.
And Pelfrey was okay with it, and then he got demoted.
No, he wasn't okay with it.
They said he was okay.
No, he wasn't okay with it. He pouted the first day. He said, trade me, do what you want. I don't like this. I felt like I had this.
I thought he was warming up to it by day 2 or 3.
Well, someone got a hold of him and said, look, dude, you can't get...
And that was short-lived, by the way. He's right back.
He's right back there, but I don't think Ron Gardenhire demotes him to the bullpen based upon that spring. And then Aaron Hicks, and I know this is a Terry Ryan decision too, but, at the start of spring, he was the presumptive starting center fielder again this year. And he starts the year in Rochester, and I guess he's doing okay down there, the first week. But and I don't think if Mauer continues to play the way that he's been playing, I wouldn't be surprised if in 3 weeks Molitor's got him hitting 6th. Enough of this. We're gonna put you down the lineup, and we're gonna have
now that would
Dozier
be
bat third.
That would be something that you wouldn't have seen out of Gardy.
No chance.
Yeah,
because they made it pretty clear that he is the face of the franchise, and you will not touch him. Okay, here's what's and here's the other thing. Now, Hunter's off to a slow start. I love Torrey Hunter. Don't think for a second that Torrey Hunter isn't excited about the possibility of showing up here, grabbing the fans, and sort of stealing the spotlight away from Mauer. You recall when Hunter left, he got into that altercation in the clubhouse with Mauer's best buddy Justin Morneau.
That's right.
That resulted in some punches being thrown. And, the Twins, I thought they made him a reasonable offer, but Anaheim made him a better offer, and he left. And he's back here. He's very, very popular. And I do think that Torrey Hunter is going to have a good year.
I think, and you talked about grabbing the fans. So it's rumored that the guy who's throwing the first pitch tomorrow is Kevin Garnett. And, his best buddy, Torrey Hunter, I think, is probably going to be the one that catches it. So it'll be a little bit of a welcome home for Torrey tomorrow, and I'm excited to see the reception that he'll get. Of course, you would expect that it could only be positive.
All right, it's Jason's podcast. We're halfway done. We'll come back. We'll have a couple more thoughts on the Twins, and then we'll get into the Minnesota Wild back in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs here on KRFORadio.com.